Welcome to another Whispers from the Wood. We're in the Ceiriog Valley, just into northeast Wales. In fact, the English border is less than a mile away. Now this week, I've come to visit a very special tree and I wanted to share the story of this tree with you at home. This tree is called the Oak at the Gate of the Dead, which has got to be one of the best tree names in the whole of the UK. Never mind the major oak, this is the Oak at the Gate of the Dead. It's a veteran oak tree. It's an English oak actually, even though we're in Wales, Quercus robur. And it's said to be over 1,000 years old. People don't know for sure. They think it's as old as the 8th century in the rule of King Egbert. If we think about veteran trees, we think about the stories that they've seen, the history that they've witnessed. And this tree is said to be the only living witness to this battle. And the battle is what it gets its name from. It's the Battle of Croggan. And the Battle of Croggan happened in 1165 between the English, led by King Henry II, and the Welsh, led by Owain Gwynedd. Now, Owain sent the English packing. It was a bloody battle. The English had to retreat. The English didn't want to fight here. They were planning to fight somewhere else, but the Welsh met them here on their turf. But there were bloody losses on either side, and it was said that many bodies were buried here. And I've heard even that the field at the back is not allowed to be ploughed because of the finds that might be there in the bodies. And the area is known also as the Gap of the Graves. And it's also linked with other historical sites. It's very close to Offa's Dyke. Now, Offa's Dyke is a huge earthen rampart that was built between the Kingdom of Mercia by King Offa and Wales. And it is said that the bodies from the battle were actually buried in the ditch of the dyke and covered over. Now, oak trees are one of our most longest living trees in this country. They are beaten by yews, and there are some yew trees in Britain which is said to be even 4,000 years old, which is pretty amazing. But oak trees do live a long time, and there's a saying you might have heard. Oak trees take 300 years to grow, 300 years to thrive, and 300 years to die or go into decline. And that's what's happening with this one here. And at the minute, it's certainly beating the 900-year mark that rhyme goes off. It split in two about 10 years ago. It's all part of the natural process of the tree. This is something called entrenchment, and this is something that veteran trees do to extend their life. As trees get older, they get wider and fatter, and it takes more and more energy to send the water and the nutrients all the way up to the furthest branches, to the leaves at the very extremes of the tree. And as the tree gets bigger, that takes more energy. So in order to extend its life, what the tree does, it starts to kill off some of its outer branches and retrench, bring the life back into the centre and lower down into the tree. And you might see that on a lot of old veteran oaks where they get what's called stag-headedness. They become stagged, and you see these antlers, like stag antlers, sticking out of there, these dead branches. And that's where the tree is retrenching. It's dying back its crown and putting out new growth, usually at the bottom, and that's called epicormic growth. And that comes out the bottom of the tree, usually many years before, and that's like an insurance policy for the tree. It's putting that growth out in order to allow for that to take over when the older branches at the top of the crown need to die back and retrench. So the fact that this tree is split in half is absolutely fine. It's still doing very well. In fact, there's even a birch tree growing out of it as well. And we have this fantastic deadwood habitat as well, this big long dead branch behind me, and hopefully it will live for many years to come. The amazing thing about veteran trees like this, particularly oaks, is that they support so much more wildlife than just themselves. Look here, we've got mosses, lichens growing here. There's a young oak growing here. I bet that's fallen out of an acorn and now that sapling is growing. We have ferns growing here. We have a young conifer down here growing out of the oak. A birch tree behind it which is growing out of the oak. There's all this fantastic wood mould as well. This is in the middle of the tree. Do you see all that brown stuff? That is fantastic for all kinds of wildlife to live in as a habitat. It's amazing stuff. People talk about black gold with compost. Well, this is the equivalent when it comes to veteran trees. What an amazing specimen. It's amazing that it's alive after so many years. Really puts things into perspective. But it's a beautiful tree, it's got a fantastic story and a great name, and I wanted to share it with you this time. If you know any awesome trees near you that have a fantastic story, or veteran trees you love, share them with us, I'd love to see them. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for another Whispers from the Wood.